Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they're short and unboring? This is why I've invented the 5. Yeah, it could have been tighter. 10-minute meeting! Woo! And there's the graphics, there's stuff in post-production. It's all in video stuff. You guys are going to love it. You're going to love it. Hey! Jim Falkenstein here with the Ashland 5-minute meeting for August 15th. The mayor's announcement, she goes, hey, there's a benefit concert for our sister city, Hortyrsk. It's a new one in Ukraine. It might be Hortyrsk. Anyone got better than Hortyrsk? Something like that. It's this Saturday at the high school, so come on down and donate to that. And then the Butler Perosi Fountain private funding status. And an old guy with a white goatee he gave some history on it. He said it's over 100 years old, and not the guy, the fountain. I mean, the guy's pretty old, but the fountain's 100 years old. And then the fountain was restored in 1987, so now it needs more restoration. And he says it's been outside the whole time. Well, yeah, that's how fountains go. And then he says we raised $440,000. And we need $360,000 more dollars. That's $800,000 to fix a fountain. So maybe that little guy on the kid on the top of the goose, maybe they're finally going to make that gold. Maybe that. Maybe they're going to put Pellegrino water in. I don't know. TBD. And then the social equity and racial justice report. A tiny lady with short hair. She suggested and read a labor acknowledgement, like the land acknowledgement for the indigenous peoples. Before a show or whatever they land. She goes, all right, let's do a labor acknowledgement. And this guy goes, hey, so who else does a labor acknowledgement like this? And she goes, well, some college kids do it, but our city would be the first. And the mayor goes, all right, well, we can't vote on that or anything, but what's your second thing you're going to talk about? And then the tiny lady said, the annual surge report was getting citizens to join the surge committee is a challenge. And then a lot of talk about equity. And then off to the next thing, city manager's report. It's city manager Joe Lassard. He kind of looks like this guy. And he goes, hey, September 26th is another coffee and conversations at some coffee shop. And then September 19th is a business roundtable. And another meeting on September 19th is a 5G meeting. And I give the rest of my time to Fire Chief Ralph Sartain. I see, because he's a fire chief, because that's, anyway, fire chief. Anyway, so this is a fake picture of him, obviously. But Ralph Sartain says, after the Maui fire, people are scared. So I'm just saying, remain calm, because we have a new brush crew, and we have a new ambulance crew, and we are fully staffed, and the helicopters are logging is going to come and clear dead trees in the watershed. And this counselor right here, she goes, hey, are we still using drones to survey the watershed for homeless fires and stuff? And he goes, oh yeah, we are. I just signed a 2-year extension of that contract, and the other day we caught some campers and we sent the cops after them. And also, there's a difference between fire evacuations and fleeing. Fleeing is if you didn't evacuate as we told you to. And we coordinate with ODOT and the police and CERT and are aware of the road diet and the construction. So we are as prepared for wildfire evacuation as anybody could be. And then this one goes, she goes, well, in my short term, redundancy, by the way, foot off the gas. Folks say and speak to, also thresholds, and by the way, ready, set, go. Also, when do you know? So she said a bunch of buzzwords, and he goes, well, let's all remain calm. We watch everything, so we know everything, so we will let you know at the exact right time. Have you ever heard of the word cocksure? It's a good word. Anyway, so consent agenda, all approved. I'm sure it's fine. And then public forum. We go right to the 5G hat lady, the lady with a hat. It's 5G. She goes, none of you know federal law, so you can't decide anything. And then a hat and glasses lady, she goes, the green bag program just happened at the food bank. Okay. And then the bald 5G guy says, telecom laws have been ignored and the government seeks to control our lives. Possibly. And then lady with bangs says the homeless mother of 3 is being harassed. The unhoused have no rights. And then in the original OG 5G lady, she says, hire our 5G lawyer to write the city telecom ordinance. And then a bald 5G dude, other 5G lady's husband, said the Maui fire proves that cell phone communication is less reliable than fiber optics. That's That's not untrue. And then a gray-haired lady shows up and says something about the homeless camping village, maybe. I don't know what it was. And then the acquisition of a Liberty Street property. I don't know if you know this, but the Parks and Rec deputy director says, we're buying 17 acres for $486,000, and we're buying it because of wildfire risk reduction and SEEP and ecotourism. It sounds kind of true, but the only way for anyone that's ever going to know about this trail area is if somebody were to make like a video with maps and maybe some drone footage showing the trails all along the ditch. It's me. I'm gonna do that. And then this one goes. So Parks bought the Alice in Wonderland property the other day, and then the Acid Castles property the other day, and now this property. Seems like Parks should be spending more time on maintenance than on acquisitions. And this one says, oh, how dare you? You prove that. And she was infuriated by that accusation. And she goes, the medians are maintained poorly by the parks. And then this one is also outraged. That is not the park's fault. And this one says, it would be stupid not to buy this. And so it was approved 5-1. We got a big chunk of land there top of Liberty. You go check it out. And then buying the Coming Attractions building. I don't know if you know this. It's not the old theater. Only an idiot would think that we would buy the old theater. That was me. I thought that was buying the old theater. But it's a building near Shopping Cart. It's this building here. When you look online, I'm going to have a great graphic, but I'm showing you right here. It's right near the Shopping Cart, past the oil stop, and near the train tracks. You'll be able to see that on the internet. And then City Manager Joe Lessard spoke to this a lot. He goes, hey. This is a 1.2 acres. We're buying it for $2 million. 1.158 million is from a state grant, and another 1 million is from some other grant, and $200,000 is from the city. And the mayor says, most people in town just found out about this last week. But that's not our fault, that's the state's fault. All right. And then this one says, go over what's the grant process again? And the financing, and Joe goes, this is Joe Lessard, city manager, says, we're paying 1.4 million cash and financing 600,000. And let me show you, let me talk about a map that no one in the audience can see. So they talk for the next 20 minutes about a map no one can see. And then this one goes, she goes, hey, what about the Clay Street Park and that neighborhood there? That's right near there. That's going to be problematic. He goes, oh yeah, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make the fence taller. And by the way, we might add some water fountains, some lockers, pallet houses, laundry room, kitchen. There will be 40 beds in the building, and if this gets approved, we're going to start rebuilding the interior September 15th. That's in a month, and we will be building wildly, and we'll open on October 1st. So the community center has been closed for 5 years because it's unsafe. But we are buying an old building and converting it into an emergency shelter for people to sleep in, and we're going to crank that out in 2 months. Oh boy, public forum on this was long blonde-haired lady says, my kids go to the Siskiyou School, which is in the Clay Street area, and delay this vote and have a town hall. I support the shelter, but there's no support plan for this shelter. And an old guy in glasses says, I'm not a NIMBY. However, something about conditional use permits. And then a pink shirt guy with a tie says, I have an optometry shop across from Aura, and the city doesn't protect our businesses. Crime and defecation happens on my property all the time, and the city doesn't have a plan now, and you don't have a plan when this shelter comes in. And then a long-haired lady from the Siskiyou School, which is very nearby, says, Aura has brought more problem people to our campus, and we are worried that this shelter will bring more. And a big-haired person said, I love the homeless. And a blue-dressed lady said, buy this property and fix the problems later. And a short-haired lady said something about a resilience hub. And then this guy, Bloom goes, he goes, I love it. This is an emergency shelter, not housing. So we don't need to figure all that stuff out. And planning director Brandon Goldman, he goes, not just that. He goes, the new state 2023 law says that emergency shelters trump all local laws, and all small town ordinances must bend the knee to creating emergency housing. And that was interesting to know. I don't think that's not true. And then this one goes, hey, Aura lady, Oregon's helping residents of Ashland they changed it. Whatever. So, can you come up and talk? And then she comes up and or a lady says, we're a low barrier shelter. They run the shelter out there. Used to be the Super 8 motel, right? And we're trying to get people into housing who are homeless free. And we also run local temporary shelters like this one. So we've got that kind of figured out. And then the city housing lady said, we've discussed this building together and we have a basic plan. This guy says, I move we buy this property. And this guy says, he goes, I think this is going to be helpful. I think it's going to be helpful. And this one says, everybody makes good points, but I have an amendment. There's a challenge of balance. The lens to public service. Kids can't vote. I make amendment to this by saying the city needs to secure the Siskiyou school somehow. And that amendment was approved. Pretty vague, but not wrong. And then this one says syringes and feces shouldn't be in businesses' yards. But let's buy this giant emergency shelter and figure that out later. Who's with me? And it was all approved. Everyone's in it. And then Public Works Director Scott Fleury showed up and goes, hey, we need an IGA. That's an intergovernmental agency for our tap water supply. And they're like, let's approve that. Approved. No discussion. What are they talking? No questions at all. Do you know the tap is a clean drinking water pipe from Medford. And we have a contract with them for 3.1 million gallons a day. But the tap pipe can only pump 2.6 million gallons a day. And are they fixing that? Is there a plan to fix that? Are we working on any of that? There's no questions about that, but maybe it's just me that bothers. Okay, and then this guy goes, what does this guy go? He goes, hey, I moved to hire a new company called
Not Project A.
to create a new website for the city. I don't know what their real name is, but
Not Project A, you're welcome.
For the city. And that was all approved. That's it. End of meeting. You're welcome. Woo!